Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back, everybody. So here we are at the beginning of the year. Lots of us have New Year's resolutions. Lots of us have goals to attain. But it's been said that 60 to 70% of the changes we make, if not done right, fail. I mean, it's no surprise most New Year's resolutions die on the vine, if you will. A couple of weeks in, by the first week of February, we're probably hitting that 60 to 70% failure rate. Wouldn't it be great if there was a system that could help you make those initiatives actually work and take control of your career and your goals and move your life forward? There is a system. I have found the playbook. We're going to open the playbook, and the man behind that is the founder of Open Playbook, Larry Dodd, joins us here on the program today. Hey, Larry, how you doing?
It's Steve. I'm doing fantastic. It's good to be talking with you, and looking forward to our conversation today.
Best timing ever, especially with the beginning of the year and lots of us having goals. Personally, I'll tell you, I set in place 90-day goals, and I did that about a month and a half ago. So, closing in on it soon. I'm in a part of a men's group, so we set commitments and things like that. Am I going to achieve everything on my goal list? Being honest, no. Life changes, things derail here and there. But let's go right to the basics. Describe Open Playbook. What exactly is it?
So Open Playbook is a way to manage relationships, first with ourselves, to put us in a position to set better goals based upon what our strengths are. And that I talk a lot about that in Open Playbook number 1, which is a playbook that we're given. We're all given a different series of strengths to work with. The problem is, too often we don't even look at those strengths. And so the second playbook is the playbook that we develop. Well, if we don't know what our strengths are, those inherent strengths to build upon, how do we know we're developing the right playbook, the right goals, the right objectives for what we have to offer, which also would be the most satisfying ones? Then finally, and this really drives into the leadership aspect, both organizationally with individuals, it's a playbook we give away. Great leaders give their playbooks away. Too often, leaders don't share their playbooks. And I'm not talking just about the great big wins. I'm talking about, where'd you get your nose bloody? What did you learn? How can you mentor somebody in a way? You share your playbook. And no matter what level you're at in your career or what you're aspiring to do, somebody's looking at you and they're wondering, how did you get there? This is a way to tell them.
Should you always share your playbook?
I think there's always judgment involved, right? You get into a lot of issues around that, first starting with selection. If you're selecting the right people to mentor and you're making the right connections, and this is all about connection, then you share elements of your playbook that help that person move forward. But it comes down to a question of judgment of what you share, why you share it, and whether it will be beneficial.
Open Playbook sounds loosely connected to football principles. Am I going in the right direction here?
Well, football was my sport. I always wanted to play football. I was a little guy with glasses, so I never thought that I'd get to play. And sure enough, I got my shot and had 5 years of it, and it changed the way I thought. But if you think about football, right, we have a playbook. It tells us what to do and where to do it and why to do it and who's doing what. But that applies to just about everything in life that we do in a team environment. Whether it's the cheerleaders, right? They have different roles and different responsibilities. Whether it's other sports, whether it's drama, whether you're doing a play, you know who's doing what and why. And successful operations, successful plays result in putting the right people in the right place at the right time to do the right thing.
I firmly believe in what you said before, especially about the strengths. So earlier this year, I took a strength assessment test, and there's a whole bunch of them out there. I took the Clifford strengths, and I'm on the board of the Girl Scouts, and they were doing a retreat and said, yeah, everybody take this test. Let's see where your strengths are. I didn't really put a lot of stock into it, to be honest with you. It was the night before. I'm laying in bed. I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to get this done. So, bang through on my phone, answer questions in rapid fire. Took about 30 minutes. But what it revealed was my surprise in that many times I tell people in my world that you're an empath. Like I have a nurse friend. Every 2 days, she has to take the day off because she just drained. I'm like, well, you're an empath. That's why you're taking on all the energy. So I get the strengths back. Number one strength for me is communication. All right, spot on. I'll get that. I've been doing this since I was 17. All right.
For sure.
Number two was empath. I'm like, what is that? I figured it. It's probably out of the 34 strengths of that assessment. Yeah, it's probably going to be, I don't know, top 15, top 12, something like that. Number two.
Yeah.
So I looked at that. And I'm like, here again, I'm the one calling everybody else out on it. But it's the mirror. I'm the empath as well. But then I looked at that in terms of what I do as a strength, and I feel it empowers me to pick up on other people and get in their head and see what they're feeling and gauge, how we do an interview and all of that. So the strengths are important to realize what you got and how you can use it to your best advantage. Would you agree with that?
I would agree 100% with that. It's funny, but I'm actually a certified Clifton Strengths trainer.
Oh, yeah.
And so
no coincidences in life, Larry.
No coincidence, right? Synchronicity appears again. But so many times we focus on what's not there. And what this assessment really helped me in the same way you're talking about, because it allowed me to focus on what was there, how I build upon it. And when I look at that person in the mirror and that person looks back, I know that person now. I know that person better, not just from the assessment. So it's not like magic, but from the assessment that leads me to better questions and looking at the experiences and the work that I've done in my life, right? So when we combine all that together, now we look at the mirror and say, oh, I get that. And that was a perfect example that you just provided and how empathy shows up and that empath presents itself.
And it works for me. I will be honest. Sometimes in personal world, it's can be a curse, but it can also be, a strength. I will just pivot for a moment since you were connected to Clifford Strengths. Low on the list for me was competition, competitiveness. And I saw that and I'm like, oh, that hurt. I mean, I didn't, I'm a team player. I really rolled that way. But I looked at that, the competition side, and again, 34 strengths. It was probably number 31 or somewhere around there. What does that mean? I haven't really delved deep into the results.
Well, so when you think about it, everybody has all 34, and they're just in a different ordering, a different permutation.
Sure.
And just because it appears near the bottom doesn't mean you can't do it. Because what we're really thinking about is we're measuring talent and we're thinking about a natural way of thinking, feeling, and behaving, right? And so it's how do we naturally respond? If we have something near the bottom, the important thing is to know that we just don't go to that as easily as we might go to something else. Doesn't mean we can't go to it. And sometimes it makes us better because we have to think about when there's the right time to go to competition. In your case, harmony for me is very low.
What is? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Harmony.
Harmony? Interesting.
Yeah, harmony. So for me, I have to think about, I don't think as easily about harmony, which means that sometimes I can create a lot of disharmony. And it impacts the way that I interact with myself and how I build the teams and the people around me to be more effective. And so with competition, you can do that. It just doesn't happen as naturally. That's what that's telling you.
Got to process that. You mentioned teams a lot. Is that one of the most important things in our lives, and especially Open Playbook?
I think so. I think that we become, it's important who we associate with and what teams we function within, whether it's a family team, whether it's a work team, whether it's a sports team, right? There's interaction, there's human interaction that requires connection. So let's go to Playbook 1 for a second. If I look at Playbook 1 and I understand how I am wired, it makes it a lot easier for me to look at somebody else who's different and not only understand and accept why they're wired differently and what I'm getting back, but also understand why it's critical that that person contributes to the team in a way that I don't do so naturally. So
It,
yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of teams we participate in.
it's almost as if what I'm getting from you is you identify what your strengths are and what others are around you and call upon their strengths and look at what yours are so that you have a powerful combination.
Yeah, exactly. And it gives you a way to be more effective, but it also gives you a way to realize spots that you have to pay special attention to be more effective. And it gives it provides a lens that we now have a common language. We can say that, oh yeah, I understand that better. And so conflict doesn't become such a bad word. It becomes part of a natural event in our life because we're all different.
I want to get to the different types of playbooks there are, but before we go there, Larry, how did this all begin for you? Your journey to essentially coaching people to achieve their goals.
Well, I chose the wrong career for the wrong reason. Um, I wanted a sure thing that would pay me a reasonable salary that I could take care of my family. I was the first person to go to college in my family, and I chose accounting. I have no idea why I chose accounting, but I did. And before I know it, I found myself working in a big eight auditing firm, worldwide firm, and later moving into real estate. My first couple of years in real estate were great because I was doing non-traditional things. All this creative stuff that you don't associate with accountants, I was having a blast. And then the market turned. And the company said, we need you to be an accountant again. And I went, oh, really? And I started to doubt myself, Steve. I didn't believe in myself. I thought something was wrong with me. And so that led me on the path of kind of figuring out who this guy who looked back in the mirror was. And I realized there was nothing wrong with me. I just had something to offer that was unique to the finance accounting field and not traditional. So I built a career on going to places where they didn't want traditional. In fact, they wanted different. And when I came in and to drive change in an organization, how did I do it? I built teams of great accounting people because they had a strength that I didn't have. And I had something to offer them that would allow them to advance their careers. I've got some wonderful success stories back there.
Wow. What an interesting story. At first, I'm feeling you in that it probably was uncomfortable sitting with the accounting thing because it wasn't you. You didn't feel fulfilled in doing it.
It was completely draining.
If that would be the last thing on my list of things. And, I own a small business along with doing a lot of other stuff. It is the bane of my existence. I don't want to talk numbers. I don't care to talk numbers. It is just, even when I have to talk to an accountant or a bookkeeper, I'm like,
I get that look a lot. I used to get it.
Oh, it's just like, I just do it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to, but of course you need to work with people and for the greater good of everything. And you should know what's going on behind the scenes, basics, can I generate an invoice? Yeah, of course I can. Do I want to? No. But if I don't get paid. But then it's interesting how you took that training and then spun that into what was more of your passion in terms of working with people. It's almost as if for a period there you were an accounting team coach.
I was very much so.
Wow.
And I had to have great accounting people work for me, or I'd have to do the detailed accounting work. And so I enjoyed the companies I worked for. I enjoyed the people I worked with across the organization. And I enjoyed the people that were on the team because their success was really and truly my success, right? And so to develop people, it found me. I didn't find it. It found me. And I've been doing it ever since.
Now, we mentioned the accounting team coach. That was then. This is now. You work with everybody, right?
Completely. I work completely across the organization, horizontally and vertically. So straight from the leadership on down to the person, who's in the trenches that they're trying to develop. And it's having been there, knowing what that feels like is a way for me to build a bridge to people that helps them avoid some of the missteps that I made in my career.
It's my understanding that there are different playbooks, or if you want to call them different tiers of what's going on. Can we take a look at a few of those?
Sure. Well, the first playbook, right, is the playbook we're given. And my story is a perfect example. I chose a career without even thinking about what my playbook was, right? What did I want? I wanted an outcome. I wanted a good career. I wanted to make money. I wanted the CPA behind my name. I didn't even know what the CPAs did, but I worked my way through school in the meat business, had a blast, and then I got into the accounting world, and nothing connected. It was like I was lost. And when I really started looking at that playbook, which was the first thing, I took the time, I invested it to look at what did I get? What did I get? And am I using it? And if not, why? And so the first thing is you're creating awareness. You're creating awareness. This is what I got. Oh, no wonder this is the result I'm getting. What if I do something different? But we have the foundation to do that, right? The second playbook is the playbook that you develop, and that surrounds first yourself. Am I moving in a direction that's powerful for me? Or if not, am I at least aware of it and managing to that circumstance? Am I doing so with purpose, right? So we start to develop better playbooks for ourselves. But as we grow in an organization, we're also building teams that are different than we are. We want to be different than we are. They need to be different than we are. And so we're able to see people differently and assemble better teams that are more effective. So that's as we grow into the more of a manager role, right? But as you grow into leadership, it's all about how are you sharing your story to build people? That's the playbook you give away. And whether it's in business, whether it's in sports, whether it's in family, too few of us share our playbook, particularly the areas we would have liked to have done maybe a little bit differently.
When you initially said share playbook, I got a visual of like your secret sauce. And then part of me was like, well, I don't know if I want to give up what's in the, the vest pocket here and let people know how I do what I do. Not that I have anything. I'm just
Right.
I'm going hypothetical. But that's not what we're talking about in terms of sharing the playbook, right?
No. I mean, we grow in our relationships and we see people who are looking to wherever they're starting to grow in their path to become at the level we're at, right? Our experience can be a wonderful light on the path that they're working with. So it's not prescriptive. It can be uncomfortable because we're having to be vulnerable. We're having to share that. And so I was a CFO in 3 companies. And in those 3 companies that I was a CFO, I immediately started building my replacement. That's me. Because I got better people that way. I got fantastic people that way who wanted what I had to offer. And I needed what they had to offer, right? So I started building that effective thing. The thing about sharing your playbook, though, is that usually you have to do it at the worst possible time. You're tired, you're uncomfortable, you want to get out of there and go home. It's late, but you're developing this person you've selected, and they've actually selected for you because you see promise, and something comes up in the moment that you need to mentor them on, that you need to teach them on, and the moment is the moment. It stops now as you're developing people, right? Whether it's an athlete, whether it's a child, whether it's a manager working for you, you stop in the moment and you walk them through that no matter how inconvenient it might be, if that makes sense.
It does. And let's go even deeper. Is it essential to do that? And I'm going to give a hypothetical. Let's say you meet somebody, networking event, friend of a friend or whatever, and you're talking a little bit, and they say to you, my son is 18, 17. He really has an interest in what you do. like that's seems what his path is going to be. Could he ever come down and like take a look at what you do there? Is that the moment where you say, playbook is open. I know I'm tired. I don't have extra time. I don't have that bandwidth, but in my mind, I'm going to say yes because I'm opening the playbook. And in the end, it benefits them and it benefits me.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that is the answer. I think a lot of times that's the right answer. It's all relationship based in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a couple things going on. What relationship do you have with the person that's asking you? What initiative is the person who you're going to invest your playbook with showing? Because it's a two-way street. It's a clean agreement, right?
Gotcha.
Is that if I'm gonna make this investment of me and my experience, I need you to make an investment too and to reach a little bit so we can be uncomfortable together. We get comfortable being uncomfortable.
So let's even take a layer deeper on the hypothetical situation. The person you met, and you just met them, but they're a friend of a friend. You may be doing business with them. They have an interest in your business. You know, there could be some synergy there. But on the side over here, they're mentioning their son that he's got an interest in what you do. So it could come back in a positive way to you. And I'm not suggesting that everything you do needs to have payback or
Right.
pay off. But in that kind of situation, there's a potential for some synergy.
I would agree completely. And we've lost a little bit of that with COVID, that connectedness of us as humans. And there doesn't have to be an immediate payoff. And I would go so far as to say the payoff we may never see.
This is true.
It may be a payoff that's made down the road, and we just do it because it's the right thing to do.
Buy a lottery ticket today. You may get something, you may get nothing.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. It's but what happens is that I think, this is my opinion, as a leader, as somebody who's going to lead people or inspire people, whether it's a family, whether it's an athlete, whether it's in the business world, if I'm working in that manner, I'm putting out a demeanor that attracts back the kind of people who would respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
And as I do that, it brings the whole team stronger, closer together, and it builds a stronger culture. And that's what you lean into is culture. And if you have people, your culture is going to continue to be strong if you lead it from the top that way.
It seems to have gotten lost in terms of mentorship and all of that. And as I roll my mind back, the only reason I'm here today is one man.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep.
And I forget, along the path of how that all transpired. But when I think back to it, I always wanted to be on the radio. I didn't have any money, single mom. And I taught myself electronics. So I built myself a mixer. I would make up tapes. I have me as a DJ. I would borrow without permission my sister's turntable, so I had two to mix. And I'd walk around with a tape in my pocket. And I was interning at a cable TV station, running the camera in 11th grade. And the general manager of that cable TV station used to do a part-time radio show. And we would talk about it. He would call me Pipes. He had pipes, man. He sounded great. I didn't have any confidence. And he actually took the tape out of my pocket and submitted it for me. That's how I got my first job. Mm-hmm. 6 months later, he was at that station. He left that station for a big one. I went to the big one. It was huge. And I'm 18. I'm on the biggest station in New York. And
Yep.
Because of him.
That's right.
And you don't see that often. I don't see people talk about, somebody mentoring somebody else, somebody helping somebody else, just, opening the door to their world, so to speak. You feel the same way now?
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be a better world if more people did that?
Right.
And I've heard every excuse in the book as to why they don't. But at the end of the day, it's, you went to one person in your career. I'd go back to 7 in mine. And I know exactly what 7 they are. I know what 7 moved my career. I know why, and I've told them. Now that's the, a powerful thing to do. And
Wow.
but you got to be looking for that, right? So what was that person looking for in you that they saw? I mean, I just pulled 5 or 6 different things about it. I said, wow, man, we can develop this and this and this and this, right? Think about the initiative that you displayed there, Steve. That's powerful stuff. The creativity.
You want it
right?
bad. You want it bad. You find a way, and that person was my way. But you're right. There were other people along the way. When I sit here and start thinking, there's other names are going to pop. He was the first and probably the most instrumental for giving me a kick in the pants and pushing me forward. Larry, I just looked at the clock. We're like over time. We're out. We're out of time. I'm like, I got questions. Got to go to the next one now. So we will next time get together. I want to go deeper into how the playbooks work, how you coach, how you work with people. I think it's phenomenal. And taking a cue from football, easy to understand.
Good.
Very clear and easy to understand so far. And I expect that moving forward, be the same exact way. Larry, how do we connect with you? Let's say somebody, this is resonating for them. They're a leader of a team. They own a business. They really want to really get on point. How do they find you?
Well, there's 2 ways that work well. Website is open-playbook.com. And so that's our online presence, and it's a good way. And also my email is openplaybookllc@gmail.com. And those are probably the 2 easiest ways to get in touch with me, and I'll return your call, or we'll set up a meeting to talk more about how we can help you. But first of all, understanding where your pain point is and does it make sense.
And I think most importantly, we should say, as we wrap up today, that this is custom. There's not a cookie cutter situation going on here. We talk about a playbook. It's not like I'm gonna grab this playbook and that. Here, you use that. No, everything is custom designed for what you're looking to achieve.
Absolutely, 1,000%. In fact, as we close up, I will show you my playbook.
Okay.
Can you see that?
I can.
That's 30 years that led to Open Playbook. And I don't ask anybody to do anything I haven't done. And I don't do cookie cutter type of product. At the end of the day, we meet people where they're at. We meet organizations where they're at, help them go where they want to go, and do it in a way that builds people and doesn't tear them down.
3 words. This is exciting.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy to be here, Steve. It's great to be part of this. I'm looking forward to our next conversation.
I really am too. Larry, great having you on here. Really appreciate it. And we'll catch up next time.
All right, Steve. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.